Hey guys, Colin here at the Deep Tissue Massage Center. I'll show you how to use a little rubber ball called a pinky ball in order to work out any kind of adhesions you might have through a shoulder area. So if you're somebody that's had a shoulder injury, you may have had a rotator cuff tear or even a surgery. So that means that typically it's the supraspinatus tendon, this muscle up through here, with the tendon running down here. You may also have had some bicep tendon issues, some front shoulder issues. All these areas tend to get adhered together, meaning they tend to glue onto each other when there's been little tears in the muscle. When they start to heal themselves, they tend to glom onto one another, start to lose some range of motion. The other thing is when you have pain in a particular area, you're going to tend to protect it almost like a wounded animal. So most people with shoulder injuries tend to pull their elbow in toward their side. So they start to lose range of motion. Some of these bigger circles that you naturally want to be able to do, you can't do anymore. So what I'm going to show you is how to use this pinky ball first in order to start to loosen some of these areas up. So the first area we're going to focus on is the upper chest region, where the upper chest actually attaches, this little bony area right in through here. So if you take your fingertips and you go right underneath your collarbone, you follow them out until you bump into the front of the shoulder. Right in that little nook there is about where this muscle of the upper chest attaches. I'm going to have you take the pinky ball, put it right there. You're going to use a door jamb or a wall, whatever works. And you're going to lean in with your body weight. And you're going to roll up and down and side to side a little bit, looking for a really tender spot or a spot that feels really tight. When you find one, what I'm going to have you do is take a few deep breaths. As you breathe out, you're going to just try and let that area relax. Let the pressure of the ball in a little bit. Let the area around it loosen. You're going to do this 3 or 4 times. Just see if you can't let that area open up. If the area that you're pushing into refers pain somewhere else, say out to your shoulder, in toward the chest, down under your armpit, anything like that, anytime you're working on an area and it refers pain somewhere else, it means you've hit a trigger point, a hot spot that's holding a lot of tension. That just means you want to spend extra time there. So spend a few minutes working that out. And then once you're done working on that trigger point, or that tender spot, you're going to roll back and forth, up and down, side to side again, looking for another tender spot. So maybe find 2 or 3 different tender spots, the most tender spots, and work on those. Now the rolling back and forth, side to side and up and down, what this does is it rolls across the fibers of the muscle at different directions. It tends to break up these adhesions. So even in this little area right here, you could work this for say 3 minutes, just rolling back and forth and up and down. So you can do this on each of these areas we're going to focus on. So the next area we're going to focus on is the front shoulder right here. So you're going to take the ball, put it right in the front of the shoulder. Takes a little bit more finesse in order to make sure you don't roll off the ball. And you're just going to again push into the doorway. Go up and down, side to side. This area tends to get overworked, this front shoulder muscle, quite a bit. Now you can take your fingers and just kind of hold the ball there so it doesn't pop out also if you need to, as long as it can roll back and forth a little bit. Now when you find that tender spot, you're going to do the same thing as you did before. Take 3 to 5 deep breaths. As you breathe out, you try and let that area loosen, open. Then you're going to roll up and down and side to side again, looking for another spot. Again, you're going to hit 2 or 3 spots in that area. Then from this area here, we're going to come down a little bit to right here. So just below the front shoulder, kind of near the crook of the armpit here, right in through here, this bicep itself. This starts to get really thick in through here if you've had any kind of injury to that area. So you're going to put the ball right there. I'm going to do the same thing. This time with my arm by my side, pointed toward the floor so I can access that area. I'm going to roll up and down, not so much side to side. Maybe a little bit, just very little. Looking for those tender spots. Same thing again, those deep breaths. You're going to work on it like I mentioned before. 3 to 5 deep breaths, try and let it loosen. And really make sure you roll up and down on this area and side to side quite a bit if you've got tenderness or tightness through there. So that starts to focus on this whole area here. Now we're going to focus on stretching out your back a little bit. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. I'm going to pretend like I'm shorter because I'm going to use the door jamb here as if it's a wall. So you can do this on the wall too. They call this a wall crawl. All you're going to do is face the wall with your body square. You're going to slowly walk your fingertips up, keeping your arms straight up in front of you. Try and keep your elbow locked straight if you can. Just go up as high as you can comfortably. All right? You're not looking for an extreme stretch here. you want to just get up to a height where you start to feel a little stretch right in through this area here. Once you do that, I'm going to have you then just put the flat of your hand on the wall, almost like a suction cup, because this is your anchor. And what you're going to do with that is you're going to then let the rest of your body drop. So you're going to bend at the knees, drop your butt down and back, and you're just letting your body sink, and you're using friction or traction here on the wall. That's why I say pretend like your hand's a suction cup. And it's almost like your arm is staying here and you're letting the rest of your body fall away from it. What we're looking for is a big stretch right through this area right here, right through this latissimus dorsi, your big back muscle. So I'm going to have you hang out there for about 30 seconds and just really let that stretch out. Now another thing you can do is once you've let this stretch a little bit, you can then climb up a little bit higher with your fingertips, place it again, do the same thing 2 to 3 more times, just to let this stretch out. Now once we've got this stretched out, we're then going to target the back of the shoulder blade right here. So right on top of the shoulder blade. A little tough to place the ball there. I'm just going to put it like this. I'm using the door jamb. You're probably going to want to use a wall for this. You're going to do the same thing as what you were doing with the front of the chest. You're going to roll back and forth, up and down, looking for those tender spots. Take some deep breaths into them, and then iron that area out. More rolling back and forth and up and down. This area tends to be commonly very tender. Once you've released that, we're then going to take the pinky ball and go right out here to the rear shoulder. So shoulder blade right here, shoulder itself right here. So it's a meaty piece of muscle right there. You're going to put the ball there, same deal. Just again, lean back, roll side to side, up and down, looking for those tender spots, okay? Make sure to iron it out. And you're going to spend the majority of the time on the spots that feel the tightest, that feel the most tender. The other spots, if you're not feeling it in an area, just do it a couple of times, rolling around for maybe a minute, 2 minutes tops. If you really feel it in an area, you may want to hang out there longer. You can even spend 30 seconds in an area where you may not be feeling it a lot. We really want to focus in on the areas that feel like they're the most restricted, the most tight, the most painful. So once you've ironed this out, we've covered the front, we've covered the back, we've done a stretch for the lat. Now we're going to do a stretch for the front chest. So what I'm going to have you do is take the flat of your forearm and your palm here, put it right against the door jamb. Now unless you really have a severe problem with your shoulder, you should be able to get your upper arm here to 90 degrees, so meaning parallel with the ground. So from this position, if you can't get your arm to go back this far because you've got some rotational problems in the joint, then just go to here. That's fine. Then you can let your elbow float back a little bit. The main thing is that you have an anchor to the wall here to do this next stretch. Now from this, what you're going to do is you're going to step forward with the same side leg as the arm that's in the door jamb here. So I'm stepping forward, I've got my left hand here, stepping forward with my left foot. Now as I do this, I want to make sure my shoulders stay square. I don't want to turn into this or I start to lose the stretch. Shoulders stay square and I start to shift my weight onto this front foot, letting my body drop forward. And you're going to feel a big stretch through the upper chest here, through the front of the shoulder here. Now if this is too uncomfortable, it's causing sharp pain, binding in the shoulder, stop. Drop your arm down a little bit and try it again. Okay? But if you can get your arm up this high, that's great. Now what I would recommend while you're holding this for about 30 seconds, take some deep breaths into this area, try and let it relax. See if you can lean forward a little bit farther, do it again. Okay? So you're going to hold this for 30 seconds to a minute. Once you're done with all of that, what I'm going to have you do is start using your elbow to make little circles. We want to look at the full range of motion here, and you want to have some sort of a measure of how your progress is going, and this is going to give you that idea. So you're going to just put your hand on your shoulder here, and you're just going to circle around. So if you can go all the way up and around, that's awesome. Chances are you won't or can't. That's why you're doing this video. So just like so, try and make a little bigger circle. See where it feels like it starts to stick a little bit. See if you can work through it nice and slowly. Slow down on the sticky spots and really try and let it stretch. You may even hang out in a spot and take some deep breaths. That's fine. Then go the other direction. Start small. Slowly make the circles bigger and keep working it like that.